Hey guys, it's Eddie. I have returned with yet another review for you all, and it is a continuation of my series focusing on the films of the Brat Pack. Now, first of all, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been sort of supporting me and giving me feedback on my Tumblr account. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, and I recently asked on there which Brat Pack movie people wanted to see first, and I got a lovely response, and they asked me to review St. Elmo's Fire. So that is the movie that we are going to be reviewing today. So let's just jump right in. So this movie basically is kind of like, it's got nearly all of the Brat Pack in, apart from Molly Ringwald and Auntie Michael Hall, and that's probably because this movie takes on a more mature subject than perhaps The Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink, the ones we've covered so far. You know, this focuses on a group of sort of kids who've just graduated from college, and they're sort of trying to figure out what stage in their lives they'll be moving on to next. You know, they're sort of entering the big wide world, and sort of their friendship, this group, as their whole friendship and their friendships with each other are tested because suddenly they're sort of plunged into the real world. So St. Elmo's Fire isn't really talked about a lot, I guess. I mean, obviously I run a 1980s Tumblr account, so I know lots of people that are huge fans of it there, but in the grand scheme of things, not many people talk about St. Elmo's Fire. They mainly talk about 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, The Outsiders. St. Elmo's Fire, however, for me, I would say is one of the defining sort of young adult movies for me as far as the 1980s decades go. You know, I think it really touches on some sensitive subjects, you know, like sort of really not knowing where you're going when you've left the sort of world of your teenage life, and you know, you sort of suddenly you're not in education anymore, and you've got to find a job. And you know, it touches on stuff like, obviously, like heartbreak, love, you know, drug addiction, you know, sort of, you know, getting caught up in quite messy situations, which a lot of people find themselves in at this age. And I think that the performances of the Brat Pack actors, particularly Demi Moore and Judd Nelson, for me, are fantastic in portraying this sort of naive, you know, sort of plunge into the real world. And that includes things like realising you're with the wrong person, you know, being, you know, cheated on, and you know, your life is your love life in particular is spiraling out of control. I think Demi Moore's portrayal as Jules is a very sort of sensitive, you know, performance. This girl is completely lost. She thinks she's got a whole life figured out, and soon it turns out that she really hasn't, and it's up to her friends to help her out, particularly Rob Lowe. And I think Judd Nelson portrays very well the typical cocky young new businessman who soon realises that maybe his quick I'll jump right in decisions aren't maybe the best for him, and he's made, you know, mistakes that he regrets. So as I said, you know, this is a step on from The Breakfast Club. These kids are in the college era now. We're not in high school territory, so it takes on darker themes, but it's still got that sort of young adult vibe of, you know, raw romance, raw energy, and that sort of trajectory of, you know, making life choices and making mistakes. Now, this film was directed by Joel Schumacher, and same guy who directed The Lost Boys, and it is directed really well. I think it's got some beautiful shots, you know, some beautiful character close-ups, particularly in the scene with Ali Sheedy and Andrew McCarthy, when Andrew McCarthy sort of confesses his unrequited, undying love for her, and it's sort of, you really feel that, you know, real emotional tension, and I think, you know, his directing is great. It contributes really well to that theme of, you know, these kids, you know, really stumbling through life at this point, thinking they've had things all figured out, and it's actually not. There are a few characters in the film that are perhaps a little bit lackluster. Now, I'm a huge Emilio Estevez fan, but his character, Kirby, he sort of takes a different road in the film to the rest of the gang, because he becomes obsessed with this woman played by Andie MacDowell, and he's sort of diverted on a different track, and, you know, he plays the character well, but I think his character is a little bit, I mean, obviously they can't all have the same storyline, but, you know, Kirby isn't really like the best character in the movie. Like, you kind of want to focus more on the central group, and there are times where he's with them, but because his you know, main plot line takes a detour, he's kind of like lost, I think, and you sort of don't really care about his storyline as much as you care about the others, because his character is a little bit obsessive, but, you know, it's part of the movie, and I suppose you just have to deal with it. Another character that is kind of more central to the group, but it's kind of uninteresting for me, is Wendy, who is sort of, well, she has a flame for Rob Lowe's character, Billy, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of her character. I mean, the only real character that I am a big fan of is Leslie, who's played by Ali Sheedy, who I think, you know, is kind of really downtrodden in the film, but she still manages to keep her integrity, I think. But yeah, Kirby and Wendy, I kind of feel like are like unnecessary characters. They slot in with the group, but then I kind of feel like they get lost. I actually know that Kirby isn't the character that Emilio Estevez wanted to play. He actually wanted to play Rob Lowe's character originally, but obviously that didn't happen. And I think the decision was right. I just wish maybe their characters had been given better plot lines. But that's just my opinion. As I said, the film is full of that raw emotion. You know, you're fresh out of your teenage years, and you want to start your life. That's what this movie is about. It has a really kind of bittersweet resolution to it, which I think is what that sort of era of life is all about. So yeah, I think the sort of conclusion of the movie was really good. You were kind of satisfied by it, but it also left you feeling quite emotional. It is a very emotional movie. I mean, obviously, like with every sort of coming of age film, there's comedy intertwined with romance, intertwined with sadness, and that's no different about this movie. But I think that it was a clever, heartfelt picture overall. I thought the script was good, you know, the quotes like, we thought we were going to be friends forever, well, forever got a lot shorter all of a sudden. That's one of my favourite quotes from the movie. Might paraphrase that a little bit. But coming from Kirby, it just kind of shows that you really are sort of naive and clueless when you're a teenager, and things just don't pan out the way you wanted them to, but I kind of guess they're kind of guessing that they'll be all right in the end, or they hope so. And yeah, so this film, you know, isn't sort of, I don't know, it's not sort of as renowned as it is as the movies of John Hughes are, but I really think that that this movie is a really fantastic one to watch if you want a full experience of the 1980s Brat Pack sort of genre of films. You know, you might not enjoy it as much as the likes of Pretty in Pink or The Breakfast Club, like I've said, but I think that, well, I hope that the majority of you who haven't seen it will, and if you guys have seen it, then I hope, well, you might agree with me on some of my points, you might not, but that is totally up to you. Overall, I think it is, as I said, a great movie that takes a sort of maybe less light-hearted tone than the other teen movies, because as I said, it's slightly more adult, but that theme of you know, life experiences and friendship and stuff like that is very strong in this film, and I think I would definitely recommend it to anyone that loves 80s movies in general, anyone that loves sort of the coming of age genre, and anyone who is a fan of the Brat Pack, because this film is sort of jam-packed with those really fantastic young actors of the 80s. So there is that. I'm loving this series. I can't wait to do more for you guys. I'm planning on doing The Outsiders next, but I might you know, ask for suggestions in the comments or on my Tumblr account. You guys will see that if you follow me. And remember, if you guys have any suggestions for any movies for me to watch, whatever they may be, just leave a comment or message me on my Tumblr, and I will be more than happy to oblige and try my very best to review them for you. So expect more reviews coming your way in the very near future, and I will see you next time. Bye.